Wish TV is proud to honor teachers in Central Indiana.
She is an inspiration to all of us.
He's always smiling.
Who go above and beyond.
He's done so many things for so many people.
He's inspirational.
Making a difference.
He's always taught me to believe in myself and never get down on myself.
Everybody's biggest cheerleader.
And deserving of recognition for their outstanding efforts in education.
I love the people that I work with. And to know that I've made an impact on somebody's life, it's truly a great honor.
It's an honor. I love what I do, and the kids are the ones who make it work. I'm like just so taken aback because I love them so much. The fact that, they love me just as much just means a lot. Sorry, you're going to have to cut that part out.
And you are our winner.
Oh, thank you so much.
From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the Golden Apple Awards podcast.
Hey everyone, Hannah Mordeau here. This month's Golden Apple Award winner is Mrs. Amy Kamwendo. She's a middle school choir teacher who helps students shine on and off the stage in Pike Township. And this month, we put the spotlight on her with the Golden Apple Award. But the surprise was really emotional. Mrs. Kamwendo was in tears. So we let her have a breather and then caught back up with her here on the podcast. Hey, Miss Amy Kamwendo, thanks for coming on the podcast. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
So I know it's probably a lot. We aired the story yesterday. What have you been hearing since?
I have had so many friends and family and colleagues, current colleagues and former colleagues reach out, with just congratulations and support. And it's just been really, really encouraging.
It was really special for us to see the level of commitment, emotion. You could truly tell you care so much for your students. So thank you for letting us bombard you and give you this award. But we do want to learn a little more about you. We couldn't really ask much in the moment. So tell me a little bit. You said that you wanted to become a teacher because of your own music teacher. Tell me about your music teacher and how this led you to this path.
Sure. My middle school and high school teacher, her name is Janelle Baker. And I remember when I was in the 7th grade, I wanted to be just like her. I just thought she was amazing in every way. And I would talk about her so much in her class and how much I loved it. And loved her as a person. And I started taking piano lessons because I really did want to grow up to be just like her. And I remember my mom went to a parent-teacher conference when I was in 7th grade. And Mrs. Baker told my mom that I had what it took to be a music teacher. And I held on to that. And she is such an important person in my life. She even was a part of my wedding when I got married. I've been fortunate enough to keep in contact with her. And she just had this uncanny ability to make every single student feel as though you were the most important person. And she did that with everyone. And so it was just such a gift. And I was able to learn from her and do my student teaching with her. And that kind of really set me on the path to where I am.
I love that story. And it actually resonated right then when you said she had this gift of making every student feel like they were the focus, the most important person. Your students really said the same thing to me about you. A lot of your kids said, she is truly my friend. Like, she makes me feel welcomed. It sounds like you've been able to translate what you learned now into how you teach. What is your kind of methodology? How do you make that work? How do you make these kids feel so special every day?
I think just having the mindset that I have them for such a short amount of time in their lives and you have to make it count. I would never want a child to walk away and think, oh, I hated choir, or, oh, I hate, even if they don't like singing, I just want them to have a good experience. And to feel like, well, at least when I walked in that room, I felt safe and I felt cared about. And, just having the mindset of life is so short and the time that you have with each one of these children is so formative. Middle school is so formative, especially post-COVID. We have so many challenges with social and emotional growth and development, and choir really helps kids with that. It's very much a team effort and you have to rely on each other. And so just making the time that I have with them count, I think is a good mindset having to go into each day with.
you taught before COVID, through COVID, and now kind of as we're getting back to normal. How was that? I would imagine it was such a challenge for choir and musical theater. How did you manage that?
It very much was a challenge. Our district was very great as far as following protocol and following, the mandates passed down by the state and so forth. And so we had to align everything with what was given to us and just make the best of it. But I will be very honest with you. It was incredibly difficult. It's hard to keep motivation when there are no performances. That's the reward of working so hard, is getting to get up and sing and have the audience appreciate that and clap and applaud, and not having that for a couple of years was really, it was really tough. There were some great online music platforms that we were able to invest in and use to continue that, but it wasn't the same. And so this is a rebuilding year, because this is our first kind of normal school year. And I've seen honestly, the good thing that's come out of it is I've seen so much eagerness come out of my students, because they want to sing, they want to dance, they want to perform, because they didn't have that for a couple of years. And so the motivation right now is really high, and I'm just trying to really tap into that and keep the momentum going to continue to grow the program.
I think when we often hear of the impact of the pandemic and students falling behind a bit, we don't always think of the arts and the impact that the arts can have. But I think what was key that you just said there was the socialization that can come, the team building, these things that probably are really lacking from a lot of these kids being home, and at middle school being such a important age. How are you seeing that now be different from before the pandemic, and how are you managing that to continue to grow?
Yeah. There was a lot of isolation in the pandemic, and just I've really had to take a step back and have different expectations, not lower expectations, but just different, and understanding that, they haven't had the experience of singing together. And, we had our first concert at the beginning of the year, and it dawned on me, I'm like, some of these kids have never, ever, ever done this before. And so just the expectation is different, and the grace to give in that, and being okay with learning. Sometimes learning is messy, so we had to restart a song in the middle of the concert, and it is what it is. You own it, and you just say, hey, this is learning. We're learning how to perform. We're learning how to do these things. And so just having extra grace in that post-pandemic has been key. I see it day in and day out with the arts, and that's in choir, band, orchestra. Post-pandemic, especially with our kiddos right now, everything is so instant. Like, we live in an instant society. They've got their phones, they've got access to technology and so forth. But with the arts and with sports, you have to work at something for a while until you have the payoff of the performance. And so that's been different too, teaching through that and saying, okay, stick with it. Keep rehearsing the song, keep rehearsing these scenes, it's going to pay off. And then when they get that experience of hearing the audience clap and being so proud of themselves, that's the hook. And that's what continues to keep the kids going and keep the motivation high.
Every one of the kids that I spoke with said you gave them the confidence that they didn't know they had. I think back to middle school choir and myself. I'm not a good singer, but I liked performing. And I remember always being really afraid, like the teacher's going to call on me, I'm going to have to sing or something. How do you help kids get past that? And how do you encourage people that maybe don't have all the natural talents like you do, still get out there and try?
I think a lot of it boils down to the atmosphere that you create in the classroom. I have a 0 tolerance policy for bullying, and I just set the tone. I'm very firm in that. We don't laugh at people unless it's supposed to be funny, unless it's, and so setting the tone on expectations of how we behave and how we treat each other, and just making sure that the environment is warm and welcoming to all. A child is more likely to try something if they feel like they're going to be cheered on and they feel like they're going to be encouraged by their peers. I can tell them day in and day out. Oh, you're doing so great. You're doing so. In fact, I had a little girl that this happened to a couple of weeks ago, and I got to talk with her mom about it. She's very, very, very shy, very quiet. And I gave her a solo in one of our upcoming shows, and she didn't want to sing it, and it had taken a while to grow the courage to sing it in class in front of her peers. The minute she sang, they cheered, they clapped for her. I mean, just hooped and hollered. And I told her mom, I said, that is worth, so much more than me say, I know my words count, but to be reinforced by your peers and have your peers encourage you and sincerely mean it, that gave her all the confidence in the world to know, okay, I can do this. I can sing out. And so just kind of fostering that environment of what we do and what we don't do sets the tone and helps the kids encourage each other too and create that kind of classroom climate.
That's amazing. You're right. To be welcomed and feel that comfortable feeling is huge. You also said in the story, you set your expectations high for these kids and they achieve it. And these shows are amazing. I got a little sneak peek at a lot of them because the principal sent me the videos from them. What gives you the confidence to be able to put on productions like this? And how do you get these kids to rise to that occasion?
I think for the confidence, it definitely comes down to the support of my colleagues and my administrators. I have been so blessed. In 12 years of teaching, I have had administrators that have my back 100%. And sometimes we try things and it works. And sometimes we try things and it's a disaster, and that's part of education. It's part of learning. It's messy. And so just I haven't been afraid to try new things because I know I have an administrator encouraging me and having my back in that and saying, yeah, try it. What's the worst that can happen, and if it's a failure, okay, now we know not to do that, or we know how to adjust and how to keep moving. So admin has been really, really a big part of that. And then also my colleagues are my friends. I recruit them for everything. They help backstage. They sit in the choir and supervise the kids during the shows. They take tickets. I have a colleague who sets up the auditorium, all the tables and all the chairs and helps me with tickets. And so my colleagues and friends and having that support system, knowing that I've got people to count on, I don't do anything alone. It's a team effort. That's given me a lot of courage to try new things.
I love that. It's a team and it takes so many people the last teacher that won last month, he goes, you have to be poured into to be able to pour out. And it kind of sounds exactly like what you're having with your work family environment there. Speaking of schools and teachers, we are in a large teacher shortage right now. Clearly, your life was so altered by an amazing teacher in your life. What would you want people out there to know about the need, the respect for this position of teachers and really those of us that aren't in the education field? What should we know when it comes to teachers?
That's a very big question. There's so many things. I think first and foremost, educators have your child's needs and interests at the forefront. I know from my perspective, another huge part of the puzzle piece that I haven't really touched on yet is parent communication. I think there's so much success, and sometimes it can be really scary, especially for new teachers, to call a parent or to have those conversations. But I think when parents and teachers are aligned, that's when a child can really succeed. And that really sets them on the pathway for success, keeping that communication open. So I guess just knowing that educators really care about kids. We don't get into it for the money or the summers off, which are really nice, but there's a lot of hard work that goes into it day in and day out. And it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of grace. And it's definitely worthwhile. I get so excited when we've got new teachers in the building and new teachers to mentor because I'm like, you're taking off on an adventure. It's an adventure because no day is ever the same. You could teach the same subject, but it will never be the same because you have kids and kids are wacky and they do different things every day. You don't know what they're going to say or what they're going to do. And the makeup of each class is different, and each child is so unique and different that every day is an adventure. And to try to kind of look at it that way makes it fun.
Yeah, it honestly reminds me a lot of news in a different realm. But yes. We always say before we even called you up here, we were like, seems so hard to be a teacher. There's such a level of commitment, and you guys shape these students' lives. So thank you for what you do. Before I let you go, though, I know you have Shrek the Musical Junior coming up in April. When is it? Can people come buy tickets? Where can they do that at?
Yeah, it'll be April 14th and 15th. Tickets are $10 and they'll go on sale the first week in April. And they can stop by the school to pick them up.
Amazing. Well, best of luck to all of your students for that performance. We'll be looking to see how it goes. And thank you so much for your time. It's been wonderful getting to know you.
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much.
Mrs. Kamwendo says she plans to keep helping students find their confidence in spectacular musicals in the future. From Wish TV, I'm Hannah Mordeau. We're going to continue honoring teachers here in Central Indiana who go above and beyond to make a difference in our children's lives. So if you know a teacher who deserves some recognition, please nominate them for the Golden Apple Award. It is so easy to do. Just send us a detailed nomination at wishtv.com/goldenapple. And listen for the next winner right here on the All Indiana Podcast Network.
The Wish TV Golden Apple Awards podcast. Nominate a teacher and learn more at wishtv.com now. Be sure to follow and subscribe to this podcast and discover even more great podcasts now on the All Indiana Podcast Network at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.